Hello and welcome to Ignition. So the Citroen, we've had a little look at the Citroen in a previous episode, so I'll put a link to that in case you're interested. But this is a feature really just about the new Citroen C4 EV. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this one is I think they've cracked it. I think that this Citroen is just about to hit the sweet spot of the EV market. We're all very keen to see some EVs that we can actually afford to buy, and it would appear that the stunning looking Citroen here is going to come into the market at around £30,000, so we're probably talking 35,000, 40,000 euros, dollars, so anywhere between the 30 and 40,000 range depending on your country that you're looking to purchase in. Now, there's a couple of things that have struck me about the Citroen. I'll have a quick look. So as you can see, one of the things that they're promoting there is the chap with his coffee cup and how smooth and comfortable this car is. Now, for me, I like that, possibly because I'm old, but the Citroens have always been a car that I've liked. I've had a couple of Citroens in my dim and distant past, but nothing in the last probable 15 years, I suppose. Last one I had was a Xantia. I had a Citroen Xantia V6 Turbo, and what a fantastic car that was. So this EV to me looks like it's hitting the sweet spot, but one of the things that has drawn me to it is that I'm of the opinion that Peugeot and Citroen infotainment is just appalling, and having everything in a touchscreen, when you're trying to drive, touch the screen to get back to home, touch the screen to get to the heating, then try and change the heating. It's just farcical. And watching Volkswagen unveil the ID3 and follow that line just seems daft to me. But Citroen, eureka! I think I've listened to most motoring journalists and probably the general consumer, and as you can see here, we've got knobs! Yes! Give me a knob every time. Now, heating is back. We have knobs, as you can see, in an incredibly stylish dashboard. We've got, looks like a radio or volume control for the radio, but you'll have that on the steering wheel, so that's not so critical, but I think temperature is absolutely critical. Down the gear selection, you've got your driver modes and varying the EV type selections and regenerative braking, so that you can probably drive on one pedal, but it's not been driven yet, so most of what I'm about to say is all we can learn from the internet and the lucky few who've been given access to look at it, but they're not even allowing the journalists to sit in it if you've watched any other reviews. So it's got keyless go. It's got a head-up display. We've got knobs. We've got a couple of nice digital infotainment screens. Now it'll fast charge at a speed of around 350, 380 kilometers an hour, which is pretty rapid. We've got the massive sunroof, which I really like, and the car just seems to me, from a price, quality, and its actual overall style and look, it's just absolutely hitting that sweet spot for me. I'm struggling to think of anything that comes close to the usability that this car is going to give you, particularly in the driving. When you're driving on a day-to-day basis, and I've driven a lot of miles in my life, one of the things that irritates the crap out of me is not being able to do something quickly. And I do like to focus on the road. I'd rather focus on the road and not rear end someone or have any sort of scrape. So anything that takes my eye away from the danger area, which is through the windscreen, I find quite irritating. And the Citroen looks like they've dialed it back to a point where we've got good quality safety equipment, we've got good visuals from inside the cabin, we've got a head-up display for safety, but also when I want to change the temperature, voice hasn't quite got there yet, or nothing I've driven. My last car in the UK was a 1 Series Beamer, and the voice recognition in that was just not even worth discussing. So that's only 3 years ago. Maybe it's moved on since then, but and the Citroen may or may not work well. I can't comment on that at this point. I don't think anyone else can, but you don't need it. And I think most of us don't really want to talk to our car. If you've got the radio on, try and have a conversation with your car at the same time. I'm not sure it's a non-starter for me. I want to be able to change my heat. I want to be able to turn the radio up and down. And my daily drive is a Fiat 500, and I've got a great big plus and minus on the left hand side of the dashboard, and I still go for the knob in the center. And maybe that's just a reflex action from 35 years of driving, but it's just what I do. And I don't tend to use the steering wheel controls that often because I can get hold of that without looking, and when I'm moving the steering wheel I've still got to sort of look where those buttons are, but maybe that's me on their own. So the Citroen is using the same platform that the 208 and the Corsa are doing, and the design is probably not as out there as the 208, but vastly more exciting than the Corsa. I think it looks fantastic. Hopefully it'll drive fantastically, and as far as a nice, smooth, comfortable ride is concerned, that's what they're promoting. So I think Citroen could have cracked it here. If you've got the money for an electric car and you're in the market for one, I think you've got to give the Citroen a try, unless you're in the 60-70 grand bracket and you can get yourself a Tesla, or lucky enough get yourself a Polestar. Hey, looking forward to hearing about that one. The Citroen, for the mere mortals with the smaller bank account like my good self, I'm going to be having a look at that. Mrs. M, she drives a T-Cross, and when we move in about 18 months, 2 years time, we will have a Tesla Powerwall is on my desperate want list. So therefore an electric car will be something that we'll be purchasing, and we'll be chopping the Volkswagen in. And obviously it's a long way away. I'll be favouring probably a 500e. Mrs. M's not so keen on the convertible aspect. Mrs. M she's got friends, I haven't got any of those, so she needs 4 doors and 4 seats. That Citroen has got her name all over it. So my recommendation is watch a few of the reviews. It's not very good. Hold fire for it till someone actually gets behind the steering wheel of it. But if you're thinking of purchasing an ID3 or something like that, I would give it some serious consideration of holding fire till this one's available. So just a quick one. And again, if you have been watching, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm not afraid.